Back in the 1980s, gadgets weren't just tools, they were lifelines.
Disc photography by Kodak. It's changing the way people take pictures.
Picture a brand new world.
The Kodak disc camera advances the film automatically, so you can get the pictures you may have missed before.
Status symbols and tiny windows into the future. Before smartphones, smartwatches, or even the internet, there were devices that sparked wonder with blinking lights, plastic buttons, and whirring motors. Some are forgotten, some are worth a fortune. Let's power them back on. 1. WALKMAN cassette player. Remember the first time you slipped on those foam headphones and pressed play? The WALKMAN didn't just play tapes. It turned sidewalks into stages, sleek, mostly silver or navy, with a chunky belt clip and tiny orange play light. The click of the lid, the whir of the tape. For teens, it was escape. Don't touch my WALKMAN was basically law. And yes, original models can sell for hundreds today. The WALKMAN created an entire generation of personal soundtrack curators. You'd spend hours making the perfect mixtape, timing songs to flip sides at just the right moment. The foam headphones left permanent indentations in your hair, but nobody cared. Walking to school became a music video. Boring bus rides transformed into private concerts. The belt clip announced your status. You were plugged into something bigger than the world around you. Battery life was always the enemy. 4 AAs that drained faster than your allowance could replace them. You'd develop ninja skills, changing batteries in movie theaters, under desks, anywhere music couldn't wait. The rewind button got more use than any other control, rewinding your favorite song until the tape wore thin, until the plastic housing cracked from overuse. 2. Speak and spell. Ever hear a toy talk like a robot that just learned English? That was Speak and Spell. You'd find it sitting on the floor, plastic red with rainbow buttons. Kids punched in letters while the machine droned out. You are correct. The keyboard was clunky, the voice flat, but it made spelling fun and made us feel futuristic. Cost a pretty penny back then. Up next, a TV gadget that changed everything. 3. Rabbit ear antennas with rotator dial. How did we get clear TV without cable? With patience and rabbit ears. You'd twist the dial, shift the arms, and beg someone to hold still because the picture just cleared up. Metal, wobbly, usually perched on top of the big wooden TV set, the satisfying ka-chunk of the rotator. These antennas were finicky but essential. Fine-tuning meant wrestling ghosts off the screen. And yes, kids today would never survive it. Every family had their own antenna whisperer, that one person who could coax a clear signal from the metal ears when everyone else failed. You'd stand there holding the antenna at just the right angle while someone else watched the screen, calling out, "Better! Worse! Hold it right there!" Moving even an inch could turn Walter Cronkite into static soup. Weather was your enemy. Rain meant fuzzy reception, wind meant dancing pictures, and snowstorms meant you might as well read a book. The antenna became a barometer. When the picture started breaking up, you knew a storm was coming before the weatherman could warn you. Some families installed giant roof antennas with motors, but apartment dwellers made do with those telescoping metal ears balanced precariously on top of wood-grain TV sets. 4. ATARI. 2600 console. Did your living room turn into an arcade every Friday night? That was Atari. The wood grain front, the stick controller with a single red button. Pure magic. Plugging in Pong or Space Invaders meant hours of pixelated joy. The static when the cartridge didn't load. Blowing on it, trying again. Owning one meant you were ahead of the curve. Next level tech for its time. But do you remember the other screen you played on? The Atari 2600 wasn't just a gaming console, it was a family mediator. Friday nights meant negotiations over who got the controller first, which cartridge to play, and how long each person's turn lasted. The joystick developed its own personality through wear, loose in some directions, sticky in others, the red button that eventually required extra pressure to register. You learned each controller's quirks, like a pilot knows their aircraft. Cartridge care became a ritual. You'd store them in special cases, protect them from dust, and develop your own theories about why some games worked better than others. The cartridge slot itself accumulated its own character. That satisfying resistance when you pushed a game home, the click that meant connection, the occasional spark when metal met metal in dusty electronic. 5. Portable TV sets. Tiny, boxy, and barely watchable, but we loved them. These portable TVs often had black and white screens and giant tuning dials. You'd squint to watch cartoons in the car or sneak football games at work. The antenna never stayed up. You carried them like lunchboxes. Some even ran on massive D batteries, a miracle at the time. Now, a collector's curiosity. But what about something even more portable? On your wrist. The screen was maybe 5 inches, if you were lucky, surrounded by more plastic than a small appliance. The picture was fuzzy on good days, snowy on bad ones, but it was your TV that went wherever you did. Kids would prop them up in tree houses, adults would sneak them into boring meetings, and everyone tried to watch the big game during family vacations when there was only one real TV in the cabin. Battery life was measured in hours, not days. You'd load up 8D batteries and pray they'd last through the Sunday afternoon game. The weight was incredible, like carrying a small car battery with a screen attached. But when your show came on and you were the only one watching it exactly when and where you wanted, that weight felt like freedom. 6. Calculator watches. Who needed a math teacher when you had a Casio on your wrist? These watches looked like miniature control panels, rows of tiny rubber buttons, beeps for every press. Kids used them to cheat on math quizzes, or at least tried. Nerd status symbol? Absolutely. You felt powerful, futuristic. It was like having a computer strapped to your arm. And now, a rare piece of nerd cool. Speaking of early computers, the buttons were impossibly small, requiring precise fingertip coordination that made texting seem easy by comparison. You'd squint at the tiny LCD display, trying to read numbers that looked like they were designed for ants. But when you pulled out that calculator in the middle of math class, trying to be sneaky about it, you felt like you were living in the future. Teachers declared war on calculator watches faster than you could say long division. Some banned them outright. Others developed hawk-like vision for detecting the telltale beeping sounds during tests. The watch became a game of electronic cat and mouse, where success meant solving problems silently while maintaining an innocent expression. Most of the time, though, you spent more time trying to operate the tiny buttons than you would have spent doing the actual math. 7. Commodore 64. Home computer. Ever type a command line just to play a game? That was the Commodore 64. Beige, blocky, and surprisingly powerful. You'd hook it up to your TV, load a game off a floppy disk, and wait. The keyboard felt firm. The screen glowed blue. It introduced families to the idea of home computing, and it wasn't cheap. Still have one? It could be worth something. The Commodore 64 transformed kitchen tables into mission control centers. You'd clear space around the TV, untangle cables that seemed to multiply overnight, and boot up into that familiar blue screen that promised infinite possibilities. Loading programs from cassette tapes took forever, sometimes 30 minutes for a single game, but the anticipation made success even sweeter. Programming became accessible through the C64. Kids learned BASIC, typed in code from computer magazines, and discovered the magic of making machines do exactly what you told them. The satisfaction of a program running correctly was intoxicating. The frustration of syntax errors taught patience and precision that served you well beyond computing. 8. Boomboxes, big, loud, and full of pride. A proper boombox needed dual cassette decks, equalizer sliders, and weight. You'd carry it on your shoulder, blasting Run DMC down the street. Silver plastic, chrome antennas, giant speakers, the click of the cassette tray, the loud ka-thunk of a tape flipping. This was portable power. Did your cousin ever try to fix one with a butter knife? The boombox was democracy in action. Your music, your volume, your space, Basketball courts, beaches, street corners all became venues when someone showed up with a box powerful enough to soundtrack entire gatherings. The bigger the box, the more respect it commanded. Carrying one on your shoulder was like bearing a musical flag of conquest. Battery economics ruled boombox culture. 8D cells cost more than most weekly allowances, so you learned to manage power like a military operation. You'd switch to AC power whenever possible, replace batteries in strategic pairs, and develop an ear for when power was fading. The gradual slowdown of tape speed as batteries died became a familiar soundtrack to summer afternoons. 9. Handheld electronic football game. Just red blips. That's all it was, but somehow it felt real. Mattel's handheld football was a red plastic brick with tiny arrows and beeping lights. You controlled your blip down the field, one pixel at a time. Simple, addictive. The buttons clicked loudly. Parents called it a noisy waste of batteries. But to kids, it was game day in your hands. Ready for a more visual game? 10. ViewMaster 3D Viewer. And just when you thought we'd seen it all, you flipped a disc and got a new world. The ViewMaster was magic. You held it up to the light, clicked the lever, and boom, 3D scenes of cartoons, national parks, or Sesame Street. Plastic, chunky, usually red. The discs were cardboard with film cells. You could hear the click, feel the resistance. A slideshow before PowerPoint. But the next gadget, it lit up more than imagination. Each disc was like owning a miniature vacation. You'd collect them from gift shops, toy stores, and those spinning racks at the drugstore. The 3D effect was pure wizardry. Flat pictures that suddenly had depth, characters that seemed to float in space, landscapes that stretched into the distance. You'd spend hours clicking through the same disc, studying every detail that appeared to hover in midair. The viewing ritual required perfect lighting and careful positioning. Too dim and you couldn't see anything. Too bright and the colors washed out. You'd hunt for that sweet spot where the images popped with maximum three-dimensional effect. Friends would trade discs like baseball cards, and finding a rare or discontinued disc felt like discovering buried treasure. 11. LITE-BRITE. Who knew a glowing pegboard could feel like art? LITE-BRITE came in a black plastic case with colored pegs you pushed into holes. You'd follow paper templates or go freestyle, flip the switch and watch it glow. The hum of the light bulb, the smell of warm plastic, the tap-tap of inserting pegs. Every kid had one, or wanted one. Make it with LITE-BRITE, they said. But the next toy buzzed with more energy. The magic happened when you turned off the room lights. Suddenly, your simple peg pattern became a glowing masterpiece worthy of a gallery wall. The light bulb inside cast colored shadows through translucent pegs, creating effects that seemed impossibly sophisticated for such a simple toy. You'd spend hours adjusting individual pegs, trying to get the perfect glow distribution. Peg management became serious business. You'd sort them by color in egg cartons or pill boxes, hoarding the rare colors and using common ones for backgrounds. Losing pegs was tragedy. The light would shine through empty holes like missing teeth in a smile, and everyone learned the hard way that the light bulb got hot enough to melt forgotten crayons or plastic army men left too close to the glowing box. 12. Simon Memory Game. Red, blue, green, yellow. Follow the pattern or face the beep of failure. Simon sat in your lap like a spaceship. The plastic was heavy. The buttons firm. It flashed lights, played tones, and tested patience. Winning meant remembering sequences up to 32 steps. Think fast was more than a slogan. This wasn't just a toy. It was a challenge. Coming up, a gadget that added excitement to every dinner table. Simon became the unofficial test of mental fitness in every household. Friends would compete for high scores. Families would gather around for tournaments, and the game developed its own mythology around perfect games and impossible sequences. The tones became so familiar they'd replay in your head hours after playing, each color associated with its unique sound signature. The game taught lessons about memory, pattern recognition, and the psychology of pressure. Early sequences felt easy, building confidence that would be shattered by level 8 or 9 when the patterns became too complex for casual attention. Simon separated the dedicated from the casual, the memorizers from the guessers, and created a hierarchy based purely on mental performance. 13. Electric can opener. Sleek chrome, countertop mounted, and humming like a tiny motorbike. You'd press down the can, hear the buzz, and let it glide around the edge. So much easier than wrestling with manual openers. It even had a magnetic lid catcher. To own one meant you had made it. Kitchens with electric gadgets felt like sci-fi. And right next to it, probably this next machine with a pop. 14. AR popcorn popper. It didn't just pop corn, it put on a show. The air popper sat on your counter, loud and proud. Clear plastic dome, yellow base. Hot air roared inside. Kernels spun like a tornado before shooting into the bowl. That popcorn smell filled the house in seconds. A healthier, oil-free way to snack. Movie night didn't start without it, but the next gadget made breakfast before school a breeze. The sound was unmistakable. A hairdryer having an argument with a tornado. You'd dump kernels into the chamber and watch them dance in the hot air like they were auditioning for a circus act. Then suddenly, like tiny explosions, they'd transform into fluffy white clouds and shoot out the chute like edible fireworks. Kids would position the bowl perfectly, trying to catch every kernel before it bounced onto the floor. The timing was everything. Too few kernels and you got a handful of sad popcorn. Too many and the machine would clog, sending half-popped kernels flying around the kitchen like shrapnel. Every family developed their own loading technique, their own perfect kernel-to-time ratio, and their own method for getting the maximum fluff with minimum waste. And yes, someone always forgot to put the bowl in position at least once, covering the counter in fresh popcorn. 15. TOAST-O-LATOR. Not just any toaster. The TOAST-O-LATOR was a mini assembly line. You'd drop bread in one side and watch it travel slowly through the machine, emerging warm and golden on the other. Chrome, boxy, a window to see inside. It buzzed faintly. Kids stared like it was magic. Toast became a performance. They don't make them like this anymore, but for sharper mornings, try this next one. Watching bread travel through the TOAST-O-LATOR was hypnotic. The slice would disappear into one end, then slowly emerge from the other side like it was graduating from Toast University. The chrome surface reflected kitchen lights like a mirror, and that little window let you spy on the toasting process like you were watching bread transform in a scientific laboratory. The timing was automatic, but somehow felt more precise than pop-up toasters. No guessing when it would be done. No burnt edges from forgetting to adjust the darkness setting. The TOAST-O-LATOR delivered consistent results with the confidence of industrial equipment scaled down for home use. Breakfast became an event, not just a meal, when toast arrived via mechanical procession rather than surprise ejection. 16. Electric pencil sharpener. The hum, the whine, the scent of fresh wood shavings. An electric sharpener meant business. Teachers kept them on desks like trophies. You'd jam in your pencil, hear the grind, and pull out a perfect point. Sleek plastic, usually beige or gray, with a clear shaving bin. It made you feel ready, like school was serious. One pencil, sharpened to perfection. Now how about a toy that really made some noise? The ritual of pencil sharpening became an art form with electric assistance. You'd approach the machine with reverence, insert your dull pencil with confidence, and listen to the motor engage like a tiny chainsaw attacking wood. The key was knowing when to stop. Too little, and you'd still have a dull point. Too much, and you'd wear your pencil down to a nub. The clear plastic shaving compartment became a miniature snow globe of wood curls and graphite dust. You'd watch it fill up over days of use, creating layered sculptures of academic debris. Emptying it was oddly satisfying, seeing the physical evidence of countless assignments, homework sessions, and test preparations reduced to aromatic wood spirals that smelled like cedar forests. And productivity. 17. Fisher-Price tape recorder. Red, yellow, bulky, and you could record your own voice. Kids carried these like field journalists. The buttons clacked. The built-in mic caught every giggle. Tapes rewound with that squeaky wheel sound. You'd sing, talk, make radio shows. It felt powerful, like holding your own media machine. Testing, Testing. Still in someone's attic? Might still work. Coming up, a gadget that lived in every family room corner. The shock of hearing your own voice played back never got old. You'd press record and suddenly become a radio DJ, a singing star, or a serious newscaster reporting on backyard adventures. The built-in microphone picked up everything, not just your voice, but room echo, background TV noise, and mom calling from the kitchen. These ambient sounds became time capsules, preserving the audio landscape of childhood in ways no professional recording could match. Creating radio shows became an obsession for many kids. You'd plan segments, create jingles, interview stuffed animals, and develop entire fictional radio stations, complete with weather reports and commercial breaks. The tape would become a family treasure passed around at gatherings where relatives would marvel at how young voices sounded, how ambitious the programming was, and how seriously children took their broadcasting responsibilities. 18. TV remote with clicker sound. Before infrared remotes, there was the ultrasonic clicker. No buttons, just a metal rod that clicked when pressed. You'd hear it echo through the room. TV responded like magic. Channels changed, volume adjusted. It felt like a wand, big, metal, and kind of clunky, but it meant no more getting up. Pass the clicker became a household phrase, and near the remote, often this flashy timekeeper, the ultrasonic remote represented the first widespread experience of wireless control in American homes. The technology was mysterious. How could clicking a metal device change television channels from across the room? The remote itself became a symbol of domestic authority, a technological scepter that controlled the family's primary source of entertainment. Remote control warfare began in the 1980s. Who held the clicker, held the power to determine what 8 million American families watched on any given evening. The device migrated between family members, disappeared into couch cushions, and became the subject of heated negotiations that would only intensify as channel selection expanded beyond the basic network options. 19. Flip clocks. Numbers that flipped down minute by minute, mechanical, rhythmic, mesmerizing. These clocks clicked softly with every change. Plastic cases, glowing digits, maybe a radio attached. You'd watch time pass one flap at a time. Alarm went off like a buzzsaw. Every bedroom had one. What time is it? Flip. You knew. Ready for another time capsule? The hypnotic flip of changing digits became bedroom entertainment. You'd lie in bed watching the minutes count down to midnight, each flip marking time's passage with mechanical precision. The soft click as numbers fell into place created a rhythm that was both soothing and mesmerizing. Some people became so accustomed to the sound that silence felt wrong when the clock finally broke. The alarm was legendary in its ability to wake the dead. No gentle chimes or gradual volume increases, just sudden, urgent buzzing that could rouse hibernating bears. You'd slam the snooze button with the desperation of someone defusing a bomb, buying precious minutes of additional sleep before the mechanical beast attacked again. The flip clock taught entire generations that morning was not a suggestion, but a mechanical demand that could not be ignored. 20. Clapper light switch. And just when you thought we'd covered them all, clap on, clap off. The clapper felt like magic. You'd clap twice and watch your lamp turn off. Plastic plug-in box, red LED light, and that distinct double-click sound when it worked. Sometimes too sensitive, sometimes not enough. But when it worked, it felt like living in the future. Don't clap too loud. TV might shut off. What other audio tech did we cheer for? 21. Pocket transistor radios. Tiny, tinny, and always nearby. Transistor radios lived in shirt pockets and desk drawers. AM/FM dials clicked into place. The antenna pulled out with a little tug. You'd listen to top 40 hits, baseball games, or news flashes on the go. The static was part of the charm. Don't touch the dial, came standard. Who still has theirs tucked in a junk drawer? Transistor radios created the first generation of truly portable entertainment. Before Walkmans, before boomboxes, these tiny devices liberated music from kitchen counters and living room consoles. You could carry your soundtrack anywhere, to the beach, to bed, to places where silence had previously been the only option. The relationship between listener and transistor radio was intimate and personal. You'd adjust the antenna for optimal reception, find the sweet spot where static minimized and music clarified. Each radio developed its own acoustic personality, some stronger on AM, others better for FM, each one requiring slightly different handling to extract the best possible sound quality from tiny speakers and simple electronics. 22. Tape deck boom chairs. A chair and stereo in one, these bulky wonders had built-in speakers in the headrest and a tape deck in the arm, vinyl or denim covered. Plug in your headphones or blast it solo. You'd lean back, close your eyes, and get lost in music. Total immersion before surround sound was a thing. It was like flying first class in your own bedroom. 23. Corded TRIMLINE phones. The long cord, the glow-in-the-dark buttons. TRIMLINE phones were sleek and modern. The dial tone buzzed steady. The ringer could wake the neighborhood. Some mounted on walls, others sat on nightstands. Teens talked for hours curled around the cord. "Don't tie up the line," was shouted in every household. Simpler days, right? The cord became a physical representation of conversation length. Short calls meant neat coiled cords hanging properly. Long calls meant stretched, tangled messes that required 10 minutes of untangling after you hung up. Teenagers developed advanced cord management techniques, twirling and untwirling with unconscious expertise while discussing the day's drama. The glow-in-the-dark buttons were pure magic in dark bedrooms. You could dial numbers by feel, the faint green glow guiding your fingers to the right digits. The TRIMLINE's sleek profile made it the Ferrari of home phones. Elegant, modern, and impossibly sophisticated compared to the heavy rotary monsters it replaced. When one sat on your nightstand, you felt like you were living in the future. 24. Electric typewriters. Clack, clack, ding. Nothing sounded quite like an electric typewriter. The hum as it warmed, the force behind every key press, correction tape for your mistake. Offices and home desks felt official with one around. You typed resumes, school papers, or love letters. Return wasn't a key, it was a lever, the sound of productivity. Think anyone still has ribbon cartridges? Electric typewriters represented the pinnacle of personal document creation technology. Before word processors, before computers, these machines transformed how people created professional-looking documents at home. The electric motor assisted keystroke force, creating uniform letter impressions that manual typewriters couldn't match. The correction features, whiteout ribbons, correction tape, lift-off ribbons, promised error-free documents that looked professionally prepared. The typing experience was visceral and immediate. Each keystroke produced instant visual feedback. Mistakes required immediate attention. No backspace key, no delete function, just careful application of correction methods or complete page restart. This immediacy created a different relationship with written communication, where thinking preceded typing, where composition happened in mind before fingers touched keys. 25. VCR++. Timer remote. Want to record your favorite show without missing dinner? Enter the VCR++. You'd enter a code from the TV guide, press a few buttons, and boom, your show taped while you slept. Gray remotes with number pads. The whir of the VHS start. "Don't record over my movie," was war cry. It was smart tech before DVRs took over. 26. SNOOPY snow cone machines. A plastic house, a crank, and some syrup. That's all it took. You'd crush ice into paper cones, add sugary red syrup, and grin like a champ. The crank squeaked. The ice crunched. Sticky fingers everywhere. It felt like summer, any time. It was messy magic. And every kid wanted one at Christmas. The Snoopy design was pure genius. His doghouse became the perfect ice-crushing factory, complete with his ears as the handle and his nose pointing toward snowy treats. You'd load ice cubes into the top and crank away, watching frozen chunks disappear into the grinding mechanism below. The effort required was substantial, but that made the final product feel earned rather than given. Creating the perfect snow cone was an art form. Too much syrup and you had soup. Too little and you had flavorless ice. The technique involved careful layering, a little ice, a little syrup, more ice, more syrup, building flavor profiles that would make professional snow cone vendors jealous. The sticky aftermath was legendary. Fingers, faces, kitchen counters, and anything within a 3-foot radius would bear red evidence of your frozen treat crafting session. 27. Game and watch handhelds. Before Game Boys, Nintendo had these LCD wonders. One screen, one game, all charm. You'd dodge barrels, catch eggs, or jump rooftops. Beeps and blips guided you. Batteries lasted forever. Slim enough for a pocket, addictive enough to lose an afternoon. High score wasn't just a number. It was a badge of honor. Game and watch devices introduced an entire generation to portable gaming that wasn't dependent on mechanical components or physical manipulation. These LCD games were purely electronic entertainment. No moving parts except buttons, no physical game pieces to lose, just digital characters that responded to player input with precise, predictable behavior. The durability of Game & Watch units was legendary. They survived backpack transport, playground drops, and years of intensive button pressing without mechanical failure. Battery life was measured in months rather than hours, making them reliable entertainment companions for long car trips, boring family gatherings, and any situation where quiet electronic amusement was preferable to disruptive behavior. 28. Cassette tape. Answering machine. Leave your message at the beep. These clunky machines changed how we communicated. You'd rewind to hear your messages, flip the tiny tape, and record new greetings. Some played cheesy hold music. Some ate the tape. But if you missed a call, this was the lifeline. Today, just voicemail. Back then, a miracle. The answering machine transformed home communication by creating asynchronous conversation possibility. For the first time, people could leave detailed messages without requiring real-time availability from recipients. The technology created new social protocols around message leaving, greeting recording, and the etiquette of electronic communication that would evolve into today's voicemail and messaging systems. Machine ownership created household responsibility systems around message checking, tape maintenance, and greeting updates. Families developed protocols for who could listen to messages, how long greetings should be, and whether the machine should answer on the first ring or allow multiple rings for people to reach the phone directly. 29. Plug-in air fresheners with dial control. Before smart diffusers, we had dial-controlled plug-ins. You'd twist to release more scent: pine, citrus, vanilla. Plastic shell, oil reservoir inside. The smell hit you the moment you walked in. It was the scent of home, however artificial. Too strong, someone always said. But you couldn't argue with the freshness. 30. Electric warming blankets with slide control. The soft hum, the slow heat, the slider that controlled your comfort. These electric blankets were cold night royalty. You'd preheat the bed, then climb in like royalty. A red light glowed softly. Thick cords trailed under the sheets. Don't bunch it up, was the rule. Safe, simple, snug. A winter must-have. Electric blankets represented luxury heating technology for individual comfort rather than whole-house climate control. The ability to warm your personal sleeping space independently of household heating systems was revolutionary for bedrooms in poorly insulated houses or for people who preferred different sleeping temperatures than other family members. The ritual of electric blanket operation became part of winter evening routines. You'd turn on the blanket before dinner, allowing it to preheat the bed while you finished evening activities. The gradual warming process created anticipation, checking the bed's temperature, adjusting the control setting, and finally sliding into artificially warmed sheets that felt like luxury in cold bedrooms. The 1980s created the first generation of consumers who understood that electronic convenience required constant feeding through battery replacement, charging cycles, and power management strategies. Every gadget demanded its own energy source: AA batteries for Walkmans, rechargeable packs for cordless devices, button cells for digital watches, D cells for boomboxes, and portable radios. Households developed battery storage systems, brand preferences based on longevity testing, and replacement schedules that reflected the hidden infrastructure costs of portable electronics. Children learned to recognize the warning signs of power depletion: dimming displays, weakening audio output, sluggish response times, and developed troubleshooting skills to diagnose whether problems stemmed from battery failure or more serious mechanical issues. The economic impact of battery dependence was significant for families who embraced multiple electronic devices. Monthly budget allocations for battery purchases, strategic shopping during sales, bulk buying to reduce per-unit costs, and the gradual development of environmental awareness around disposal of spent power sources became part of middle-class household management. Thanks for walking down memory lane with us. Which of these old treasures do you still remember? Drop it in the comments. And share this with family so these memories, and the value they hold, never fade away.